talk about homophobia. Homophobia is so gay. How many of you went to a high school where it was just okay to say it's so gay all the time? All right, let's be honest, because I know I've done this in the past. How many of you actually said, that's so gay? That test was so gay? All right, good, all right. The point I want to make around here is that you are bombarded with messages, such as these. You may not be as gay as this, but damn it, you are trying. If you don't like the war against terrorism, you're gay. We'll skip that one. No, dude, you're the homo. According to my charge, you're gay. All right. You see these kinds of, it took me about 3 seconds to get this off MySpace. Because these are the kinds of things that people are sending to each other. So I think we live and operate in a culture where even teachers in high school, and we hear this from students all the time, nobody really corrects that kind of language. It's just acceptable, it happens all the time. But if somebody were to throw the N-word out, something would hopefully be said. 40 years ago, that wouldn't have been a problem. So what the point I'm trying to make is, we're slowly changing over time. But we all growing up, we are living in a culture where speaking in ways that are not very inclusive is tolerated, accepted, and even encouraged. So it's important that we check our languages. Okay, let's talk about homophobia. You know, if it was that easy, you got an injection and people wouldn't be homophobic, that would be great, but that's not how it works. Okay. All right, so let's talk about some hints for heterosexuals. Somebody comes out to you, do not run screaming from the room. This is rude. Rule number 1, all right. The rest of this is not that important, but let me hear from the group. What are some of the ways in which straight people can be allies to the LGBT community? Go ahead.
Next time you hear somebody saying that's so gay, tell them not to.
Great, yeah, challenge. If you hear somebody saying that's so gay, challenge them. Say, you know, that's kind of offensive, I don't really agree with that, please don't say that in front of me. You don't have to jump down somebody's throat. I think nobody really gets your message if you get off and you say, you're a bigot, you're an idiot, you're this, you're that. If you start name-calling right back, you're not doing anything much better. But engage them in a conversation and say, what did you mean by that? You know? And that's one of the things that we hear all the time. Do you all have a safe space sticker campaign here? Do you have safe space stickers? Okay. We'll talk about that. We'll come back to that. What are other ways that straight allies can be supportive of the LGBT community? You're kind of doing that right now. Coming to LGBT-related functions and events. What else? Go ahead. No? I thought somebody had their hand up. Somebody had their hand up here? No? Okay, all right. Well, we'll talk about it in a couple seconds. Okay, we need LGBT and straight people to unite. Here are some things not to do. I think these messages are not very effective. I'm so gay, I shoot rainbows. Or every time you see a rainbow, God is having gay sex. But we need to come up with better. I did not make those pictures. Okay. These are so important that straight people be out and visible as allies. Okay, straight but not narrow. I'll tell you why. Gay people have gaydar. How many gay people have gaydar? Yeah, all right. We're able to tell the other gay people. But what we don't have is straight dar. So you can't look at a person and tell, well, you don't have an ally dar. So you can't really tell whether or not a person is really accepting and inclusive. So you have to be out and visible by wearing those buttons, by putting safe space stickers on your doors and doing things like that. Having stickers like these, another straight for LGBT rights, time to end the hate. It's also important for LGBT people to be out and visible and proud of who they are. So National Coming Out Day just went by a couple days ago. These are students from Vassar College celebrating that Coming Out Day. It's important for us to be out and proud as transgender individuals, as queer Christians, as bisexuals. We're not confused, not greedy, just fine. And I think we also need to change some of this language around. I remember when I came out, somebody said this to me. I don't mind you being gay as long as you act straight in public. And I wish I would have thought of saying this back. No, I don't mind straight people as long as you act gay in public. How ridiculous is it? How do you get to decide how I can and cannot act in public? I think we need to show other images of what our families are like. I love my 2 mommies. I think maybe we need to re-envision some of our popular culture as well. So I saw mommy kissing Mrs. Claus instead of I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. Okay. We need to learn from our history. I don't know if you know this, but Hitler was very strongly against gay people, and that's where the pink triangle came. He would put the pink triangle on the armband for prisoners who were either gay or suspected to be gay. But I think this is a very poignant message, right? And we also need to reclaim our own history and know about our own leaders, and and I just don't mean the LGBT community, but straight people also need to know about all these people who are leaders in the gay community. How many of you went to a high school where you actually had some sort of mention of gay history or people who were gay? Like maybe 6 or 7 people in the entire room. What does that say? These are all American people, some of them very important people. Tennessee Williams, okay? But we never talk about it, so we need to learn from our history. Get out and vote. If you are not outraged, you are not paying attention. There is a lot of crap happening in this country, and you need to pay attention to that. Choose to have your voice be heard, stand up for what you think is right, and fight back. I think that's very important. This is important for both LGBT people and straight people to do. Say, I'm sorry, you don't agree with my lifestyle. That doesn't mean you get to control it. I kind of like this one. From the last election. Okay. Let people know that you have the power of your vote. And I think it's also very important for the LGBT community to unite as well. I think transgender people are very often left out on the sidelines. I did not include a lot of transgender issues just because I was told I had a short amount of time and I've probably gone twice as much because, you know, I have the mic, so I can control it. But it's really important that we support transgender rights as well. There's a lot of political stuff happening around the Employment Non-Discrimination Act right now that's going through the Senate that would protect lesbian, gay, bisexual people, but not transgender people, and that's awful. Okay, I'm coming to a close, so bear with me for another minute. Okay, the gender binary sucks. So I'm bringing this back whole to sexism, right? We started with this whole homophobia as everything is related to sexism. This idea of men at one side and women at the other. It sets us up so that one is better than the other. We are teaching our kids what is right, like which is better, what's not. Girls act this way, boys act this way. But I think we need to rethink that. Why don't we make bathroom signs that really show what really happens in the bathroom? I don't know how many of you have been in the men's bathroom, but it's a mess. Why can't we have signs like this? Okay? So that people don't have to fight for their right to be in the bathroom. Here's a great example of how homophobia doesn't only affect LGBT people, but it also affects straight people. I actually have a straight friend she's a little quote-unquote butch, all right? And she got harassed the hell out at a bathroom in a restaurant because they thought she was a man, and she's straight, you know, she just has a short haircut and she likes to dress in men's clothing. There's nothing wrong with that. So homophobia just doesn't affect LGBT people, it also affects straight people. We need to defy the labels that are placed on us and the stereotypes that come with them. We need to be gender rebels. I'm not saying the next time you get a form that you fill it in this way, okay? But hopefully we get to a place where the C is an option for people to choose. All right, coming back again to sexism. I have heard this message over and over again. I'll tell you a quick story. I went to Ohio for Thanksgiving a couple of years ago. And they had 2 little children. Grace was like 3 years old, and Colin was their son, he was 5 years old. And they asked Grace to tell the little poem that she had learned that week. And she said, 3-year-old girl said, boys go to college to get smarter, girls go to Jupiter to get stupider. And as soon as she said that, all the adults in the room started laughing and cheering and clapping. And I was, of course, appalled, because this little girl was being sent a message that at 3 years old, that boys go to college to get smarter, and girls go to Jupiter to get stupider. So I think women and men need to fight for women's rights. And this is the kind of message we need to be telling our children instead. Mommy, when I grow up, I want to smash the white, racist, homophobic, patriarchal bullshit paradigm too. And replace again our popular messages. Jack and Jill ran up the hill, Jill won, period. Thank you. Okay, and the very last thing that I want to say, no matter what your sexual orientation, it is really important that you be proud of who you are. I really want to thank you for coming.